little scary last week with the TV.
And I'm gonna make her do all the Zooming until she's confident.
I almost saw it as a setup.
Ready?
We're ready.
Okay, it's 11:04, and to call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Steve Christensen,
Present.
Don Frericks.
Here.
Rick Robbins.
Here.
And Mr. Smith has regretfully announced his retirement prior to the start of the meeting.
We have an agenda. Approve the agenda. Any corrections, additions, anything? Hearing none. Agenda approved. Public comment.
Move to approve the agenda.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't like the way I did it. Okay. Second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, public comment. Would anyone like to make a public comment? Please say your name, who you are, and et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, I'm Steve Steyer, and I've been communicating with
Excuse me.
Alton Smith.
You are the chairman of the Poor Farm
I'm the president of the Leelanau County Historic Preservation Society.
Thank you. Okay.
But I'd first like to make a statement that was sent to me by Alton Smith, who is the owner of property at the north end of Old Spring Road. I've been communicating with him by email, and I forwarded his email to you tonight. I'd just like to read this statement from him.
Please.
Okay? I think the open country feel of the county should be protected. A 5-acre development of asphalt, extensive vehicle parking with a commercial building will definitely destroy the bucolic setting that makes the main road between Maple City and Glen Lake so scenic. These views need to be preserved. Thank you. That's from Alton Smith.
And he lives right in the vicinity of that?
I'm sorry?
Where does he live?
He winters in North Carolina, but he lives up here in the summer. He'll be back on the 30th,
But his residence is right there.
right at the end of the Old Spring Road.
Okay.
Mr. Steyer, would you be able to provide me with a copy of that?
Yes.
Okay.
As I said, I am the president of the Leelanau County Historic Preservation Society, and I'd like to remind the committee it has been 5 years ago that the Board of Commissioners proposed removing the Poor Farm barn. Our group recognized the barn as being a potential positive amenity to the park. And now this morning I realized there's some question whether the north side of the road is actually part of the park in perpetuity. And so we never thought that would be an issue, but now we find out that the part that's north of the road is not really part of the park, or is it part of the park? So that's something we'd like to have clarified and know that our investment is secured as part of the Myles Kimmerly Park. It's not listed as a park in perpetuity. Our group recognized the barn as being a potential positive amenity to the park. Now we are well on our way to having that happen. Had the commissioners gone through with their desire to have that barn removed, it would be gone forever. So that potential amenity we're ready to take advantage of will be gone. And that's no different than the 5 acres that you're discussing right now. You can't decide now what the potential of that might be for the park. And so if it's gone forever. And the park will never be able to take advantage of that potential for the park. We are not in favor of selling any parkland. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to make a comment on item 5 on your agenda about signage. There are people now that since we've had a lot more traffic in and around the Poor Farm Barn, people are tending to drive in on the pedestrian walkway. And if we could have a sign there that says, enter from Cold Spring Park, or something simple like that, so people won't use that pedestrian park pathway to drive in. Okay?
Question. You mentioned when you say parkland, are you saying both sides of the road?
I'm sorry?
Are you saying both sides of the road or just the poor side, poor barn?
Just our side. The other side is a driveway.
No, not for signs, but for, you know,
No, he's talking about the 10-acre parcel where they want to build it.
yeah.
No.
You want, did that include the whole park or just your side?
For signage?
No, for a building. Say the
Perpetuity.
for the fire department. You
I guess I
know,
don't understand.
okay, you mentioned that you don't want your side, the 5 acres for development. For the fire,
Right.
you're right. Now, does that include the other side too? Or just the poor
Well,
barn?
the other side of Cold Spring Road?
The other side of the park?
South side of the
The
county
south side where
road.
the
South
park's
side of
at.
county road.
Yeah. We wouldn't be in favor of any. of
Okay, that's what I'm trying to
Okay.
clarify, because there was some talk that maybe they could put the fire barn on the other side and preserve your side.
No, we're not in favor of selling any of the park, any
Okay.
of the county-owned parkland.
All right, no, that's what I wanted to clarify, yeah, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
My name's Haley Fisher. I own Cold Spring Farm, which is right next to the 5-acre parcel, or I'm sorry, the 10 acres that is being talked about being used for the fire department. My in-laws owned Cold Spring Farm before Elton and Kathy Smith lived there. I implore you to please find a different spot for the fire department. As a main corridor into Bohemian Valley, I think that this is amazing planning. It will completely ruin the aesthetic. Our family gives to the Leelanau Historical Conservation Society, and after all the work that's been put into the Ford Farm and that surrounding area, it seems, I'm not sure what, I can't understand why this would even be something that would be considered for that area. Personally, for our business, it would be very damaging. It would be psychologically damaging to all of our animals. I would probably not be able to get liability insurance. I teach beginner lesson programs for the schools in the area. We do a lot of community service projects, not to mention our property value, which to me is a very small thing compared to just completely ruining the aesthetic of that area, and also the habitat that provides for so many animals. The North American kestrel, which is on the watch list right now, being one of them. You hear so many, we've heard about private airports being shut down because there's a sandhill crane in the field. This, to me, just seems like it is lazy, I guess. And I see that we do have a need for another fire department, but I just really, really feel strongly that this is not the right spot for it. guess that is it.
Question?
Sure.
This isn't our idea. I mean,
No,
you know,
I understand.
I mean, we're not, you know, they came to us, so we're just, you know, we're
Sure.
not, you know, we haven't decided anything.
No, I totally understand, and like I said, my in-laws have, you know, they built and developed Cold Spring Farm, and I remember a long time ago when we were talking about, when there was talk of putting the jail there. It was our understanding that that was county land that could not be used for anything like that after the talk of putting the jail there. 20, 30 years, I'm not even sure how long ago that was, but I totally get it. I just mostly want to say I am on board with it not being there.
Yeah. No, I think they came to us thinking that, it's my opinion, that they were gonna get a pretty good deal, like free property, and that's probably not gonna be the case, if it were to even go that far.
Right. Well, I really hope it doesn't for all of us, but, you know, this is a very frightening proposition for us because this is our livelihood. It's what we do. We have to have people want to come and be in this beautiful place and keep their horses, which I love horses, but they're flight animals. They're not very smart. And so we're talking about the safety of people on our property, you know, riding flight animals with a walnut-sized brain, having a fire department next door it's very scary for us to think that could happen. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think they, Greg was touching all his bases. He's gotten input from the overall community about where this could possibly go. And the question came up, have you checked with the county? And so I think the presentation from him was, better check this first. It's an ideal location. If it works, it's perfect. And if it doesn't, then they move on. It wasn't like, you know, this is the last gasp or anything for them. I think they were just, you know, doing their due diligence and, okay, we better check the county first. So.
I'd like to go on record, I'm against it as well, for all the same reasons.
This is public comment. So.
Your name,
That's all right.
sir?
I'm a taxpayer, Centerville Township. I would rather have that fire hall next to my farm than have it in Maple City.
Thank you.
I make one more comment. I'm still Steve Steyer, by the way. I never thought that the north side of the highway was not part of an official, in perpetuity, part of Myles Country Park. I considered it all part. And we've raised a considerable amount of money to work on the barn, and all those folks gave that money, assuming the same thing. And so I would like to have you folks consider making sure that all of the land that's owned by the county there is part of Myles Country Park in perpetuity. Okay? Thank you.
No other public comment? Thank you. Okay, action items, approval of minutes from way long ago, from January 19th. Any corrections, additions to the minutes? Any comments?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is what we've been, on the agenda is a Cedar Area Fire and Rescue Property Acquisition Request. This was talked about at our last meeting, our regular Park and Rec Committee meeting. It was sent back to the committee for us as a group to explore all the options and possibilities and why we might approve or not approve such a thing. And I'm just going to open it up to the committee here to comment on what you have to say about it. I made my comments at the other meeting, they're very clear.
As an aside to the topic, Glen Lake Schools would like to put baseball fields there,
On what side? The north?
the 10 acres.
Is that still on the table?
Glen Lake
Yes.
Schools wanted to do tennis courts there, and
Oh,
that
that's
came
right.
off the table, and they did tennis courts in their own campus. Now they want to do baseball fields there. So I think we've got multiple groups eyeballing the 10 acres. And
How did you hear about that?
Rick, this is the, do you have that one? Here, why don't you take that? Oh, the far one's the agenda, far pile,
Agenda's on the first cover of the minutes.
right there, yeah. So, you know, we haven't really fleshed out for the county what we, Parks and Rec Commission or Myles Committee, what our vision for the 10 acres is. And I guess at this point in time, I'd be up for a more complete study. We had Leah put together the Myles plan. My son Dusty was working for Leah at the time and put together the Myles plan and conceptual plan. And we have a drawing of that. And we have talked about how that is way past overdue of a redo per se. And I think if we were to hire a company like Gosling or some such company to walk us back through that whole procedure, because there are parts of it that we're not doing like the drawing is. I think with so many groups, you know, wanting to take the 10 acres and do what they please with it, I'm thinking that as a county, as a committee, we could rethink that. I move that we go for a study and redo the conceptual design for Myles Kimmerly, including our wishes for the 10 acres.
I think just as, we have many topics on the agenda here that where some of these things could go over that 10 acres. We have a dog park, and the best place for the dog park, I don't know, we have, the committee have to agree where that might be, but I think it's probably on the north side as opposed to the south side. We need a place for pickleball courts. We need a place to possibly reposition the golf driving range if we indeed want a golf driving range. We have all these different things we have to work out and say, well, what do we want to prioritize? What do we
Don?
want to work on first?
Don, do I have a second for Steve's motion?
Then we can discuss.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's
No,
okay.
that's okay.
Yeah, so do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Then we can discuss. It was kind of a preemptory motion,
Well,
and
it is kind of like, do we want to hire somebody to do the work we as a committee could be doing on our own at first and decide what we think we would really like there as opposed to them telling us.
I don't envision them telling us anything other than working with us and working on a design or a concept and kind of lead us through it. I don't know if that would be money well spent or not.
That's my own
I don't
objection
know. I don't know.
Personally.
But having something on paper and, so many things are up in the air there right now, including the perpetuity concept. So I don't know. It's just a motion and an idea. It might be premature.
The section of the north of the road, not Cold Spring, north of, is it Birchville Road? Is that the road? North of
It's the
Birchville
county road.
But the county road is not, that is not in perpetuity, if you read
The north side is not.
the north side is not. And Melinda Lautner was on, in 2000, Melinda Lautner was one of the persons that voted on this, and I tried to contact her by email only on why it was not included, and she didn't get back to me. And I haven't talked to her about it, I should have before the meeting.
Well, the pieces of paper that Laurel found for us was the perpetuity for the south part, and then
Exactly.
the 4-H one, which is a separate, that's a 30-year deal
That's up
from
in 2025.
1995.
In
So 30 years
2025.
from 1995 on, that's what this one covers. Now, whether or not we could adjust this one to include that property in perpetuity is, I think, a valid question. And the 4-H could be under that umbrella, I think, but that gets into, probably we'd have to throw it at the legal eagles and see what we need to do.
Well, maybe I'm confused, in my understanding, Cold Spring Road divides the property on the north side, and the 4-H involvement is all to the east of Cold Spring Road. And that's where the Poor Farm is and that. And that's not what they're interested in touching or doing anything with. Castle Township, they're interested in the west portion of that property.
Yeah, the 10-acre field.
10 acres over there.
Mhm.
But both of those areas on the north side are not in perpetuity, from my reading of those things. And the 4-H people are still involved over there. They're not very involved, because I'll talk to Scott about that later. But they have, the only thing that the 4-H people do out there now is every fall they have archery, outdoor archery, which is still going on actively. They don't have any other horse activities out there.
They do.
They do?
Yeah, the Llama Club meets out there a couple times a year.
They said they used to. I just talked to Rosie Collier yesterday or the day before, and she runs the program. And you know her, because she mentioned you. And she says they don't get out there except for the archery right now. So she got the llamas there. She mentioned the llamas, and no horses. The paddock there is overgrown with weeds, she says. And if we cleaned it up, maybe they would use it more than they do. But they feel it's a detriment. I didn't know that the weeds are a detriment to the horses.
There was horse tracks in there this weekend, so someone used it.
Oh, really? Well, not related to the 4-H people then, or not to her knowledge anyway. But anyway, it's used.
Do you see it being used?
Yep. Not necessarily by 4-H people, but just community.
Miscellaneous horse riders. That's interesting too. But anyway, I think let's stay on topic, Don. I don't want to steal your thunder, but we're at number 2. I made a motion. It was seconded. I don't know if I have the votes, if there are votes to pass it or not.
Maybe not. We have, our job today was to come up with our recommendations to take to the Park and Rec Commission full board on June 1st. And I think rather than to just kick the can down the road and say we want to study this and have what we want to do with it, I think we as a group know that area over there has potential to have a lot of things done to it. So why in the world would we want to even consider selling it?
My motion wouldn't keep us from making a recommendation of the Parks and Rec Commission with regard to the fire and rescue and with regard to Glen Lake Schools baseball fields. My motion doesn't affect us making a decision.
Oh, I see. So we keep on that topic.
It's a separate.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
I can withdraw the motion if you want.
No, I think we can discuss it further. I would support it if I knew how much it was going to cost us, because we don't have money to do the things we really want to do.
I could change the motion to look at
The cost.
hiring someone to do a study for Myles and see what it would cost.
Yeah.
Is that okay with the second?
Is that going to cost us any money at all?
Got it?
Well, currently, right now, the motion is to recommend to the County Parks and Recreation Commission to request a revised study be conducted at the Myles Kimmerly County Park. So you want to specify
Look at-
further?
Look at what the cost would be for doing that. I guess if we could change it to that, and that would change it completely into something that we're just looking at doing that, how much would it cost to do that kind of study, I guess would be the question.
Then you don't need a motion.
So I withdraw the motion.
Okay.
Okay.
All right?
The study that Steve's talking about, I was involved in. It was really pretty seamless. We invited the public in for comment. Got a lot of good suggestions. They kind of milled it around. They took all our suggestions. They didn't tell us what to do at all, other than, you should ask this group of people or this group, or, and invite people in. And it was a really good work session. And we came up with a plan. They kind of plotted it around. What do you think? We kicked it around, moved some things around, and then that's how we ended up with that plan that's in your book.
Should we as a group,
It was a great thing to do, and it does need to be redone because
How long ago was that?
7 or 8 years ago.
well,
So, our vision has changed, and possibly the public's has as well. So, it was a good thing, and it was money well spent, I think.
Do you have to leave right away? Okay. Do you have to?
You guys might want to
was the
consider.
company good? They did a good job, or should we have the same company give us an idea of to upgrade what they've done in the past? Is that an option?
It's a good question. I can do a little research and see who it is doing those projects now. I know we had Gosling latest. We had Leah do that one. We got a freebie at Old Settlers from a landscape architect that lives nearby. So I'll do a little research and see who does at this point.
Okay, back to the Cedar area fire and rescue property. Can we as a committee?
I would recommend that we, I move that we make a recommendation to the Parks and Rec Commission to put all activity in the 10 acres other than what we want to do on hold. In other words, no to Cedar Fire and Rescue and no to Glen Lake Schools.
Second.
Discussion. I would like to make a different recommendation, or have it include that we can, this committee should be able to go to the full Park and Rec Commission and say, this property is not for sale. That's our recommendation.
So you want to amend the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If that were, is that?
Fine with me.
So you're requesting Steve make an amendment?
Say again?
You're requesting that Steve make an amendment?
Yes.
So let's, so I have motion by Steve, by Christensen to recommend to the County Parks and Recreation Commission to put all activity on the 10 acres north of Burdickville Road at Myles Kimmerly Park on hold.
Not in perpetuity.
Well, let's look this over. I want to make it a clean motion. So motion by Christensen to recommend to the Parks and Recreation Commission to put all proposed activity
Proposed.
for the 10 acres up north of Burdickville Road at Myles Kimmerly County Park.
And the property is not for sale. And that the property not be for
And
sale.
that the property not be sold.
Right, okay, that's good.
And we could make it even more complicated and say that we feel that it should, as someone mentioned in the audience, Steve, that we feel that north section of the park should be placed in perpetuity.
That should be a separate motion.
Yeah, that's a separate,
Yeah.
separate thing.
We have to recommend this as our main board, but then we would have to,
It'd have to go to county board.
right.
Yeah, we can only recommend to the.
It's
Parks and
recommended
Recreation.
to
And the
us.
Park and Rec has to recommend it.
Right.
Sure.
Which is nice.
I realize what we're doing.
What's that?
We have to have two separate, you say we have to have
Yes.
two separate
Yeah.
ones?
In fact, can you speak right into your microphone? Because you're a
sorry.
little soft. I can hear you here, but when I
You
listen.
guys hear me out there? Good.
Okay. So right now, the motion on the floor, which was amended, motion by Christensen to recommend to the Parks and Recreation Commission to put all proposed activity on hold for the 10 acres north of Burdickville Road at Myles Kimmerly County Park, and that the property not be sold. Okay, that's the first motion.
And it's okay with the second?
Yeah, second.
Let's get that one out of the way, and then we might be able to make another one.
Okay, any further discussion? My only problem with it is it's complicating a simple thing to just say the property, we feel, we're just making a recommendation to the full Park and Rec Commission. We say we don't feel the property should be sold, period. And to also say at the start that we're going to put all activity on hold, to me, seems meaningless to what the intent of the recommendation is.
Do you want to define activity rather than say activity? Use a different term?
No, it's almost like two separate things. You put activity on hold. We're not going to do anything there anyway, right now. So, but we're putting on hold, maybe because you said that because of the baseball thing with
Yeah.
Glen Lake.
Yeah.
I was only aware of that till you just.
Yeah, well, I guess we could just do the sale. We could take out the activities. And then if we
I'd just
specifically
like to keep
address
it
it
clean.
to, that'll just specifically address the Cedar Area Fire and Rescue.
So let's
acquisition.
withdraw the motion and then draft a different one.
I'll withdraw it. I move that we not allow Cedar Area Fire and Rescue to acquire property from Myles Kimberly Park.
I'll second that. And now
Well,
discussion.
just
She's
a minute.
gonna
Let me-
wordsmith it a
let me
little
think
bit.
here. To refuse the purchase? Refuse the offer from the Cedar Area Fire and Rescue to purchase, refuse the request.
There we
Okay.
go.
Motion by Christensen to recommend to the County Parks and Recreation Commission to refuse a request from the Cedar Area Fire and Rescue for the purchase
Of land from Myles Kimberly Park.
property within Myles. And we just make it as broad-based. Because you don't really want them building at all, right?
That's correct.
So just keep it within the park. That way, if they come back with, well, what about this part of the park? You know,
Okay.
and it was seconded by Don.
I'll second that. No, and I'll second it because I want to discuss it. And the thing is, I think it's fine, we can do that, but it negates the fact that someone else may come along and want to buy it, not Cedar Fire and Rescue, somebody else. And then we have to do this whole thing over again. So why don't we just say, point blank say, we feel this property should never be sold.
Well, I don't know if the main board would gonna box themselves in and say we're never gonna sell it.
The county itself, the county board of
Okay.
commissioners. We're,
So we have to be.
Yeah,
I
we can
think-
say that, but I think on the big board, we're not going to.
Okay,
that's,
Yeah, we're not gonna box
that's
ourselves.
a big fight.
Yeah.
you know.
okay. Okay, so we have piece it away, okay. Okay, any other further discussion? Okay, you ready? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good, Nancy.
Okay.
I'd like to make another recommendation to the Park and Rec Commission, full Park and Rec Commission, that we recommend that the north section, the section of the park north of the county road, we'll say, whatever it is, you know the number,
Verticville Road.
be put in perpetuity as the rest of the park is. However you wanted to write that out.
I would second that.
Should we reference the current?
That would be fine, you know, just add it in there.
Resolution number 2000-15, Parks Perpetuity.
So a motion by Frericks to recommend to the County Parks and Recreation Commission that the north section of the park, north of Verticville Road be put into perpetuity. The section of Myles Kimmerly County Park, north of Verticville Road, be put into perpetuity similar to Leelanau County Resolution 2000-15. And that was seconded by,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
no noes, one
No noes.
absent. Okay,
So we're at first base. There we go, second base, third base. We'll get there. Any other discussion on that? Nothing. Okay, item number 3, grub shack removal. Any update?
We're still on hold. I've been harassing Casey Noonan about talking to Mr. Newman quite regularly. Last I knew, he had the paperwork in his truck. Mr. Newman does. And
I
he's
have a good
saying
idea here.
2 to 3 weeks out. We'll see. We went to Plan B with the water and hooked it up. It's some cost, I don't know what it is. We'll have to redo it once the building's gone.
So we have water.
We have
Well,
water.
that's good then, okay. Thank you for doing that.
The water was holding back everybody from the 4-H to Old Settlers, because Jerry needs to test all at once. It's quite a process to have the water tested for bacteria and whatnot. So it's all done, everything's great. Got fresh, clean water, so.
Thank you, Scott. I had a thought about the grub shack and the fire department. We could ask the Cape Sun Fire Department to come out and do a practice burning of the building, and that would get it out of there. And then it'd be a friendly thing.
No,
That's a
those
little
trees are too-
small.
We're losing a tree by it too.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Okay, the next item is the kiosk porta potty enclosure. I did a little update on, I do have a handout, sorry. Pass one to Laura, please. I got some better cost estimates on the project, and it did a CIP for it initially, and it was about 27,000, but when I upgraded it, it comes out to about 30 to 33,000. And so I just wanted to And it's not just an estimate from the internet. I went to Northport Building Supply and I got a quote. I can pass that out if you like, want to see it. Then I got an estimated project from a builder who I think could do a good job and seemed to be appropriate. And the cost just came up. And we as a group should agree that this is an appropriate cost for this project and that indeed this should be our primary object to get done in 2023 as we planned, and maybe a little bit of it at the end of the year if there's some money left over. So we as a committee have to feel that strongly about that to take it to the full Park and Rec on June. I didn't make copies of these two things, but I'll pass them around so you can see them if you like. Just to the things, if you want to see them. You don't want to see that.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this could be our next highest priority. I'm kind of thinking that we look at doing the walking trail as a separate budget item and present that to the county board as a standalone project that would be above and beyond our normal budget. So that would be an ask to the county board. And then this would eat up a lot of our budget. But I think when we get to budget time, we might be able to look at our budget and say, instead of this, it needs to be this, bump it by, say, 10,000. I'm just talking. But the walking trail is a big bite. Obviously, it's not in our budget. So at some point in time, we're going to have to, I think, ask for the whole thing or whatever portion that the county board would be willing to look at. And that would be a separate budget item that we present to the county board in my mind. But I think this more or less fits into our budget, and we can recommend to the Parks and Rec Commission that, this be our next highest priority.
Well, that's what we've been planning on, and I thought we'd agreed to it. I put all these items on here on the agenda, so we prioritize, and I don't want things to get lost in the shuffle. And I think we've decided that in 2023, we're going to try to do this kiosk. And do we like the plan that John Walter did? Do we want to add to it as the kiosk? The kiosk part is just a board, a glass encased thing on the wall of the kiosk that looks towards the road. And it's separate from the trail. It ties into the trail only because it's going to be a universal access toilet in there. And there's going to be a paved walkway, from the parking spots up to the kiosk and the toilets and then onto the trail. And I put in the estimate here. If you look at the estimate sheet I handed out, I didn't include the asphalt. I said, we'll do that with a loop trail. That would be one asphalt job done, the trail and the walkway going up from the driveway to the kiosk, from the kiosk to the trail. And there is a separate CIP for that I put in already. But I put that in at 400,000. Then Rick's done some work, and you said we can probably get it done for 200 or something.
Oh, it's like 150.
150, oh, it's amazing that we can. Well, that's good. Do we have any more information?
Well, 150 was the high end. Could be between 125 and 150.
If we get that, because we were going to, Michael, too bad Michael left, because he was working on trying to get state funding for that. I can take over that and we'll work on that.
Hey, Don, as Mike was leaving, he said Elmer's is going to contact me about coming out and just giving a guesstimate on it. So.
That's what, Rick, you already got that, right?
I got rough, that was like a 1 mile, 8 feet of gravel and 1 inch.
So this would be a little more formal.
This would be more formal.
Okay, that probably.
Could be less.
Yeah, I don't know where he was with it. That's
Yeah.
all I know is as he's walking out the door.
I will give him a call. It's okay for me to call him as a citizen and talk to him. Okay, I'll take care of that.
Not to change the subject, but could he have just taken leave?
I don't think so. There's nothing worded in that. policy that will allow for that. But it's certainly something that the board can review their policy. You could ask for that as a commissioner.
But that was, things go slow. I realize it's not a sprinter, it's a marathon. So this walking trails paved is for 2024 if we're going to use state funding. Because we can't get the state funding, we decided not to apply this year. We're going to apply for the 23 one, and the 23 state funding projects. You're not notified till October, November. So we'll have the money and match with the county for 24. But we have the trail, right, Scott, and we're maintaining it and.
Yeah, it's a mowed trail. It's just grass, but
Is it
it's a
possible
trail.
while we're waiting to pave it, that some of it, with the terrain is too steep, can we smooth it out? Stuff like that?
Well, I can't grade it or anything, but
No,
Is that something?
I wouldn't even mess with it till we had a plan.
yeah.
Just start moving dirt around.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, back to our agenda.
Do we, did we vote to approve option 2 at some point? Does anybody remember?
Option 2,
I don't have the documents in front of me.
For the
so-
kiosk, John Walters, option 2.
oh gosh,
Because that's what we're talking about.
That's
the
right, yeah.
kiosk.
this is the one that I sent to the, is this the one you have? That's the one that I got the estimate on. I got the lumber estimate and the construction cost and all.
That's the one I remember. Well, at least that's the option 2 that I'm thinking that we were, can you pass that to Rick? It turns out it's a slab with cover, a roof cover, and 4 porta potties. 1 is a universal access and 3 are regular.
Right,
That's on a slab, and then that walkway, the concrete extends to the pull-off on the circle cul-de-sac at Myles.
right.
That's kind of what I remember.
I think we as a committee agreed to that. Thank you.
Is that the one you remember, Rick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one that, this is the one that this is all based on.
Right.
Yeah. Now, part of the reason I brought this up is the cost has gone up to $33,000. And people, is the Board of Commissioners going to say, gee, just for a toilet enclosure, a
Did you
bill,
say 3,300 or 33,000?
$33,000,
Okay.
$33,000.
And from what?
It was 27. Yeah, so price is up, and because of inflation or whatever, who knows? Or just a better estimate of what it's really going to cost. And I went up to 33, it was 30,000, and I added 10%. Because the Barron's rule, he says, you always add 10%. So I did. So,
I move to recommend to the Parks and Rec Commission that they include this kiosk porta potty enclosure for the budget process for 2023.
So for the FY 2023 county
Budget.
board budget.
Correct. This will be our recommendation to the Parks and Rec Commission. This is our number 1 item for the following year.
This is probably a good time to remind everyone that with the June sessions, which are going to be next Wednesday, You'll have a 2:30 regular session, which is just a little bump from our normal meeting schedule, and then immediately following, or at 3:30, is the executive committee, which reviews budgetary stuff for the following year.
Are the packets out yet?
No, they're coming. Yeah. We've already had discussions on budget, and our new finance accounting team is working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll second your motion. Discussion?
Who seconded that?
I did.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, actually, I should have backed up. I want just one more thing about discussion. Let me back up just for that. This 33,000, it got me thinking, and people are saying, gee, we have these porta potties and they're expensive. And is that the way to go? Is this the right thing to do as opposed to exploring other options and just putting in regular toilets?
I think when we do the plan, we go through with Gosling or whoever we hire, we'll
come up with
see,
something.
we'll see what that plan looks like. And we've kind of been creeping up on the concept of toilets that are flush toilets year-round, not year-round, but flush toilets during the season kind of thing. And we really haven't gone there yet. We don't have any. But we've looked at it a bit. It's quite a bit more than what this would be, I'm quite sure.
Well, it would be more, sure.
And then we need something now.
Now, exactly. I
And,
agree.
I think if we're gonna be going for, say, a central building at Myles that would have kind of like the pavilion idea at Veronica, a roof and then flush toilets on one end and be able to do learning center kind of things or meetings underneath the roof there. If we're gonna head toward that kind of building, it seems to me that's the kind of building that could have that kind of a service. And it could be positioned so that you would have the minimum amount of vandalism possible. And whether or not we actually need that at Myles is the question. So as we go through that process again, that'll be a point where we have to talk about that, I think.
Yeah, one of the reasons I brought it up was because we talked about the possible danger of these pit toilets that we have there. And I forget his name, Jerry, wanted to eliminate those. And, he spoke about that. And, we don't want to not listen to comments that we get.
I'm not so sure about the danger of it.
I don't think it's a danger.
They're
But I'm talking
in
about,
bad need of update. I'll just say that. They're in terrible shape. I'm not even sure how to go about that. They're,
so it's a separate issue.
it's pretty antiquated.
Or-
They need to be updated one way or another. So,
but what we're doing is not going to influence that. It's not that we're putting an expensive Band-Aid. The board might say, well, why are you spending all this money when you really should be doing something else? But I think Steve's right. We need something now, and that's going to be down the line. And that's, so.
if we're looking at building a pavilion restroom area, maybe we could just pretty up the structure we have now. I don't know. Put a couple grand into that and dress it up a bit. I'd hate to spend $40,000, but and it will be by next year on something we're not going to use in 5 years.
Yeah, 'cause it's pretty permanent here. I mean, it's nice, but like I said, if you're gonna lean towards long-term, I don't know if that's the best investment to, put 40,000 into that.
The board could say, well, we have portable toilets. I'm just trying to take the other course. You have portable toilets that are out there and just standing out there in the field. Why do you want to cover them up and everything? And my answer would be, well, for beautification of the park, that's number one. But also number two, we have to have a universal access toilet. We want to connect it to our paved trail, we want paving, you know, so it connects in
Oh, I
to the other
agree.
projects we're
So-
doing. And if you look at it in that way, then I think, well, then it's worth the 30,000 or so. But
So,
we as a committee have to feel comfortable in saying that. I mean,
so to take Scott's idea, there's already a path to the pit toilet, right? And that's universally accessible to it. And is it universally accessible in the use of it?
No, I would think not.
So I'm just kind of talking. So if we have the path already, and we've got maybe a pit toilet that Scott has some ideas about dressing up to be more appropriate for the park, and maybe a small pad of cement with, I don't even know if it needs a very elaborate cover, just something like we've done before, that would be our universal access portable toilet. Have it be connected to, next to, or on that side of the street versus the side we're looking at. Side we're looking at, we already have 4 porta potties sitting there, and they're used, and it's functional. We just need that, the real need, I'm just thinking,
No, I
is
agree.
that universal access toilet. Maybe we put it over on the other side. Maybe that's a more economical solution to our need while we do the study, and maybe we end up with a pavilion.
No, do you mean north side?
This is all on the, no,
Okay,
the other side of the access driveway
The west side of the park.
to the south. That access drive to the south park, we're talking, this is on the east side of that access drive, and the pit toilet's on the west side of that access drive.
West side,
Near his,
southwest corner.
yes, of the old.
Southwest one, yeah.
of the building area.
Picnic area.
Picnic area. So maybe, maybe we're at a point where we need to,
This is kind of where all that Leah type planning that we did years ago comes in and gives us a focus, because, you know, now here we are, we're just trying to get a simple restroom in, and we've got all these other ideas that are coming in play. And if you get someone focus those, they can.
No, I hear you. No, I think it's, well, that's why I brought it up. I'm thinking, gee, you know, and we do all this work, we push forward, and then they just say, what are you guys doing? You know, you're spending too much money for a Band-Aid. You should be doing something else, and the pavilion better. The only thing we lose, functional wise, we put a universal access over there. We have the porta potties. It's just out in the field standing. It's not aesthetically, it looks good. We got the drug shack there, it looks worse, and that's gonna be there for another 2 years anyway, so there's no problem. So what we do miss is we don't have, am I talking loud enough? Sorry, we don't have a kiosk. And that's an important thing. So we have to think, what are we gonna do for that?
we've got a standalone kiosk at Old Settlers, and we have a standalone kiosk at
We could
Veronica
just do that.
Valley.
It would cost a lot less.
And it's, you know, it's the 4x4s in the ground with a
Sure.
piece of material in between.
That'll
and
work,
you-
I agree.
and you go ahead and put the gizmo on that just has the plastic or the, you know, I mean, I think we
could
could
mount
do.
something to the side of the current porta potty building. I mean, temporarily, I'm just throwing things out there, I'd love to see a new building.
So it sounds like we need to.
It might be, that we might be a little premature with that project. I'm just kind of thinking that, maybe it is a little premature. Maybe what we really need to do is do a temporary kiosk and figure out how to get a universal access porta potty connected to our current pathway. And that'll buy us some time and we can maybe get the study going.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I support that. That's why I brought it up. So we have to withdraw the recommendation.
I'd be willing
Well,
to. Rick, what do you think?
You should, well, you're not making it easy for me today. So you need to, if I recall my parliamentary procedure stuff, you should make a motion to strike the motion recommending. Does that make sense? Okay. So motion by,
Who was
I
it?
move to strike the motion to recommend.
and I'll add all the other stuff. Seconded by
Second.
you. Discussion?
Any? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those three.
So, yeah, let's put that on hold. And you're going to, as follow up that, you're going to take the lead and contact someone?
I'll do some research with regard to who's doing those studies now and ballpark amount of how much it would cost.
And we don't have to take that to the full Park and Rec. We can mention we're doing that, but there doesn't have to be a motion.
There's no information
It's
to
just
forward at
information.
this point.
Okay. Good. Okay, let's go on now. Signage.
And we've got quite a few items, and we've got 5 minutes after noon.
This'll be quick.
Okay.
It's going to go real quick now.
Okay.
Signage, trails, Dave Behrens is still working on the trails. There's a little touch there. He didn't take it to the board. So he has to take it to the board. So there's a little delay before we get them up, but they'll be up this summer sometime. Disc golf course signage, I just wanted to bring that up. Scott, there was talk about sponsorships for signs for the disc
Yes,
golf course. Is that in the works still, something?
Well, you know, I mean, I can't do anything without you guys.
Yeah,
A group, it's called Aloft, they're a disc golf.
Oh, is that like an acronym? Or is that,
I think that's just their
okay,
business name or whatever, or I don't know, you can call it a business, but that's what they go by. They would like to see the signs replaced because they are in very poor shape.
yeah.
I talked with Greg, and we've all met him, he's been in here before, and he thought about $700 to print the signs and about a couple $100 to have everything mapped, and they'd be willing to do that. They're really nice signs, and I don't know, I would like to see us move forward with that. But, you know, I don't have a lot of information right now,
Yeah.
other than just plant the seed, so to speak, so.
Could that person present to us?
Absolutely, you'd be more than willing to come in and talk to us. I tried to get him to come, but he's in the midst of finals right now in college, so he's a little busy, so.
Can he come to our June meeting, the full June meeting?
Probably could, yeah.
That'd be good.
The full board, or?
I think so.
Yeah, that way the more we can do it at a full board meeting, the we don't
Less
have to
than
have
we have to
committee
do. I think
meetings.
that
Yeah.
may be something that's quick and easy we could do.
Yeah. See if we can do that for June. Okay, let's keep going. The paved loop trail, we've already talked about, pretty much. Can you do some work with Elmer's at all, get them to,
Was on the paved trail.
oh, I said I was gonna talk to Michael about the Elmer's thing, I'll be there.
He's got Elmer's coming to talk to Scott.
And along those lines too,
Maybe Don could be there at the same time.
Yeah,
I work as an election official, and one of my coworkers was Solon Township Parks person, and she gave me a couple ideas for grants, and I'd like to share those. The Olson Foundation,
please do.
Smuckle Foundation, and the Les Biederman Foundation.
Can you just email me those or text them to me?
Yeah,
Thanks.
don't mind the spelling though.
Okay. I'll check with Michael on that. So Michael said he's got you, Minimal's coming to talk to you about the thing.
That's what he said on the way out.
Okay, well, I'll check with him again.
Yeah.
on the way out,
But we could
okay.
also put in, you can include in there, you got Rotary and then you got the tribe for 2%, you know, for
Right.
one of these projects.
At the state.
My opinion is, we try to get these huge grants, but it might be better to get a bunch of small
It's a
ones.
small one,
Right.
that's not a bad idea.
Well,
Grab the low hanging fruit.
our chances for points at that, the trust fund money, because of the county that we are,
Right.
Slim to none.
we are hard pressed to get points in that whole category.
And for the amount of work and effort that time it takes to get to that.
And I think Dave Behrens has that, I think there's a way that you can score yourself, and I think Scott's been involved, what are we gonna score and what do we need to score? That is the question. And if we're gonna spend a whole year, last time we had Gosling Zubek, paid them good money to put it together, and we didn't score very well. So then we tried to get our score to be better, and it still didn't do any good. If we're not gonna score very well, I think Scott's point is probably very well taken. Why don't we
It's
stay-
all because of our median income is so high that they're like, oh, you guys aren't a county in need. If we were Montmorency or Clare or something, it'd be a different story, but.
Let me see your list, I'll work on it with you. And make sure that when Elmer's comes out, then I'm out there with you, what goes. Okay, dog park, there's some, I did talk to, I didn't share with you guys, this John and Kristen Prebe, that the letter that was sent in about the lady who wanted to do the dog park, interested in the dog park, want to fund it and stuff. Very nice lady. She might be at the June 1st meeting, actually. And I tracked her down, and they're enthusiastic about a park. I didn't broach the idea of funding or anything like that. I said, well, how much do you want to contribute to? They talked about giving some money, giving some time and energy, and they were very
See,
interested.
the issue came up today, listening to these people out here, it's like, yeah, we got all these ideas, but we don't have a master plan.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, until we get, we gotta work, nothing's getting accomplished. I mean, our main
That's
focal
right.
point is really gonna be the walking trail, and we gotta build off of that. That's how I kind of see it. Where do you put the dog park until you get the trailer? Where do you put the bathrooms, We're kind of like the
Well,
dog chasing the
everything's,
tail.
everything's a moving object. I mean, even the trails, the paved trails, not paved yet, that can be moved. They can do all sorts of things.
Well, not really.
We can
I
go
mean,
through-
if you're gonna have the paved trail go up to the bathrooms, we gotta we gotta have a master plan here.
Well, if the paved trails, that's why we can't put the universal access trail on the other side, but you can if there's a paved trail.
But then we brought up today, maybe a pavilion in 5 years, so where's that gonna fit?
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I have against putting the paved or the universal access toilet on the other side, someone's on the trail and they want to have to go to the bathroom, and, they have to cross over and get way over, and, it's not super convenient. But,
And it's gonna have to run faster.
but I think the idea that Steve said to let's explore and have somebody help us work on where we can place all these things. Because what, in my mind, what seems to be high on people's lists, if you ask them, are pickleball courts and the dog park and the walking trail. And those are the other items on the agenda today, I'll just mention. And then the only thing I added to the agenda, and this is what I'm making this out, I realized the thing that gets lost in the shuffle was the shed addition to the maintenance building that Scott needs, for storage, and it's down the list, I know, but it's still something
That's,
that we should consider. And so our group really has to, we want to be able to prioritize what we need to do, where we need to put it, and take care of it. And your suggestion to have someone help us with that is not a bad idea.
I'd be forever grateful to have a really nice building to work at, or heated, blah, blah, blah. But, I'd rather have stuff for the people.
Well, that's why it's down on the list, obviously.
That's what we're here for.
Anything else? Any public comment? Board member comment, excuse me.
Move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Don, you're buying lunch, is that what I heard?
I would be happy to buy you one.
There's 5 of us.